Reflection for Administrator section of ePortfolio. I have to admit that librarian as administrator is not something I had considered before beginning this program. The two artifacts I selected for this section of my ePortfolio demonstrate the level of growth that I have experienced in this area. Because of this standard, not only did I create a theoretical budget, but talked to several librarians about their budgets, how they track spending, and how they determine what to spend their monies on. I know that I have heard of SMART goals before, but this was the first time I can remember writing my own, especially within the context of a library media program. The first artifact I selected for the administrator standard is the budget I made for my 737 cataloging and classification class. I was given a set amount of money to be used for the school year and then asked to allocate the money into different budget areas. I was also challenged to think of a 5-year plan and how that would impact the way I used my current budget. This artifact meets the criteria in Standard 6, Knowledge 6.4. The librarian and information teacher knows management theories that support an effective school library program, including budget, personnel, facilities, evaluation, selection, acquisitions, cataloging, processing, deselection, inventory, client access, and circulation. In creating my budget, I earmarked most funds to be used in the acquisition of fiction and nonfiction, databases, and furniture, which, as a part of my 5-year plan, will make the library a more flexible working and collaborative space. My budget allocated monies on materials that would best support the curriculum, school vision, and student population. Before this assignment, I had never really thought about the fact that I would be in charge of a budget and that I would need to allocate funds in a way that meets the needs of the library, from the collection to supplies to long-term plans. After talking to various librarians, I realized how essential an adequate budget is, how important it is to communicate why funding is necessary to the building principal, and how tracking spending is a major responsibility. Definitely vital lessons to learn. The second artifact was from my 825 Administration of Instructional Systems class. Before completing this assignment, I had never written my own SMART goal before. As a regular classroom teacher, I wrote plenty of objectives and identified the results that would let me know if I had achieved those objectives. Students will score 80%, and 70% of them will do this. However, I had not taken into consideration the other aspects of SMART goals, whether my objectives were attainable, measurable, and timely. Not only did I learn about writing SMART goals for the artifact, but it also met the criteria for Standard 6 Performance 6.9. The librarian and information teacher promotes the library media program within the school, the district, and the community. I was asked to write 3 SMART goals. The first focused on collaboration with a classroom teacher and using a graphic organizer for taking research notes using the Big 6 model, school. The second SMART goal was focused on partnering with a local school or local public library and having students go there to read to preschoolers, community. The third SMART goal focused on encouraging students to read multicultural fiction and nonfiction books to encourage responsible citizenship in an increasingly diverse school community district. After visiting with librarians, I know that I will be responsible for writing goals for my building administrator in order to justify library needs and to identify the important role the librarian plays in the school community. I believe that writing these goals using the SMART goal format as a guide would be extremely effective. By using SMART goals as library administrator, I can communicate clearly short and long-term goals for the Library Media Center. Because SMART goals are so adaptive, I would be able to write them for key components of the library media program, improvement in circulation numbers, library programming, and technology support. The administrator standard is the standard I feel like the one I would need the most guidance in as a new school librarian. However, I also realized after talking to several librarians, administration is unique to each school library and each school. Input from experienced librarians regarding budgets, goal setting, processing, selection, etc. would be helpful as long as I understand that as an administrator in my own library, I would need to make adjustments in order to meet the needs of my own media center and my school community.